Perfect. Well, welcome everyone to this meeting of the Harpenden Town Council Planning Committee taking place on Tuesday, the 21st of September 2021, back in the council chamber. Our first item is apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies?
We do. We have two, Councillor Pip Liver and Councillor Rosemary Farmer, who are both away on leave on holiday.
Are we minded to accept those apologies, councillors? All in favour? I think that was unanimous. Do we have any declarations of interest from councillors? Anyone else? So I'll go with mine. So I am declaring a personal non-pecuniary interest in item 5, 2021-2376, which is the item at the South Down Industrial Estate. As part of my employment, I helped prepare a response to this application. However, I remain open-minded when considering this application as part of the committee at this meeting and will therefore take part in the item in question. I would also like to declare an interest if we discuss this particular item in TP 2021-0465 at 6 Chepstow Place, which is, I believe, in our communal garden. So those are mine. On to item 3, which are the minutes of the meeting of the Planning Committee held on the 31st of August 2021. Does anyone have any comments on these, or are we have to accept them as a true record? All in favour of accepting them? Perfect.
Nice for me.
Very happy to. Just done several. Did you have thought? Write my own initials again.
Yes, please, if you could. Because we have to do the clerk's approval element.
Presuming that doesn't apply.
Doesn't matter.
This will be stable my handwriting. Have we received any public questions in accordance with Standing Orders 22
No,
and 23?
none have been received.
Perfect. We've received one letter of objections in the pack. Have we received any other letters of objection?
No, not directly to the Town Council.
Okay, so we just note that we've received that letter of objection and we'll consider it in the item in question. In that case, we're on to the meat of the meeting, which is item 6, applications registered for weeks ending 28th of August, 3rd of September and 10th of September. Am I correct in understanding that our public speaker is for South Down Industrial Estate?
It is indeed, yes.
Perfect. In that case, I will start with that application, which is on the bottom of page 24. The application is 5 2021-2376 South Down Industrial Estate. I'll ask Heather to give your observations, and then I'll ask the public speaker to speak for up to 3 minutes on this item.
Yes, so essentially, as noted in my observation here, is that this particular proposal actually mirrors that of the withdrawn application to allow essentially amendment to the red line to the boundary to incorporate Marlborough Park, as well as changes to the design of Units 1 and Unit 8, as well as further consideration of noise and acoustic matters, including the detail of the acoustic barrier. So basically, sort of namely that the brickwork, in keeping with the brick of the Skew Bridge, has been incorporated into the elevations. The units at the site entrance have been combined into a single unit with active office frontage along the access road facing Southdown Road. Additional landscaping has been shown to the end of the Northwest Service Yard and in the parking areas along with the internal access road. Unit 1 has been moved further forward from the residential boundary to retain more trees and provide a wider landscape buffer. those were sort of essentially the observations on the changes to the originally withdrawn application. I won't probably go through all of these main points that were picked up from the previous application, but in a sense, really, very little has changed from our original views from the previous application.
Thank you, Heather. And I'll now invite our member of the public to speak for us.
Thank you. So good evening. My name is Joanne Richards and I represent local residents who are objecting to the plans for Southdown Industrial Estate. We are keen to see the area regenerated, but this plan will have a negative impact on local residents in Harpenden. The reasons we are objecting to the plan are noise and disturbance, visual amenity, loss of light, highway safety, traffic generation and road access. Unit 1, planned to be a Travis Perkins builders merchant, with its open-air builder's yard and HGV deliveries, is by far the most intrusive element of this proposal. Its location at the closest point on the site to houses would create unacceptable noise, disturbance and pollution 24 hours a day. The new noise report states in the summary section that significant adverse impacts to residents caused by noise and disturbance are still possible, then tries to mitigate it by saying the existing situation could be more detrimental. We strongly disagree. The unit closest to houses previously operated as an indoor children's soft play area for big space, with restricted opening times, and the only noise was from cars, car doors shutting and the occasional conversation. The noise report also states the proposal will generate noise events exceeding World Health Organization guidelines at night, which will seriously impact sleep and therefore health. Even if the developers propose restricted opening, there will be noise from air brakes, reversing bleeps, forklift truck activity, loading and unloading, which is significantly noisier than the previous situation. In an attempt to reduce the noise impact on local families, an acoustic barrier at the end of gardens has been proposed. This offers no guarantees or even suggested noise reduction figures, and at 5.5 metres tall, which is pretty much the height of a house without the roof, it would impact the visual amenity and cause loss of light for residents. We're also concerned about light pollution from the external builder's yard and the vehicles that will be servicing it. The proposed development includes vast amount of B8 storage and distribution units, which generate HGV traffic, which is undesirable on local roads. The proposal says there will be 24-hour-a-day HGV movements with 7 an hour at peak times. Southdown is a residential area with schools and shops served by no primary or secondary distributor roads and is accessed via small bridges. We can't find anything in the application for HGV manoeuvring feasibility in Southdown or surrounding areas. The Harpenden local plan encourages walking and cycling and also improving air quality. We believe this proposal would negatively impact those. We think we can do much better for Harpenden and protect the amenity of nearby residents than this proposal, and we hope you agree.
Thank you. I'll open the floor up now to councillors. So, Councillor Drake.
It seems to me that very little has changed since we last considered this application about a year ago, and the objections that the residents has raised remain valid, in particular in relation to the HGV movements in Southdown and the noise that they will create and the capacity of the roads, which I know is questioned as to whether that's a planning issue or not. But for those reasons, I agree with the officer's recommendation that they haven't really addressed the previous issues raised.
Thank you, Councillor Drake. Any other councillor comments on this application? Councillor Temple.
Thank you, Chair. I concur 110%, in Councillor Drake's comments. I think it's hardly changed from the previous application, which we turned down unanimously. I think the idea for a start 24-hour working and HGV movements in this area is just frankly not enough. Full stop.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hill.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't see this last time, but I watched the old application on YouTube this morning, and it looks exactly the same. Almost, a few changes, but they don't look substantial enough to make much of a difference. I noticed in the Harpenden neighbourhood plan there's something on applications of this scale would need transport assessments, and they've done that, but then the document fails to mention anything about congestion on the established roads, which is what would be required as part of that assessment. I think walking and cycling would be a big problem on the southbound road, because it's already very narrow as it is, especially by that bridge, with cars going past you, as I experienced, let alone with lots of HGVs. So in addition to the comments already raised, that's just the point I'd make on traffic. So yeah, I agree with the officer recommendation.
Councillor Paul, do you want to add anything?
I mean, if you look at recommended refusal, you have to repeat what you said last time, don't you?
Yes.
Otherwise, just over your wording this time.
Yes, so I mean, in a sense, we can use exactly the same wording as we said last time with the sort of preamble before it, to say that despite, we have to recognise that they've come back with some supposed changes, but we can say that despite the changes being made to the individual application, the committee is still the same.
There is a calling in hand.
Is there? Right, okay. It wasn't on, it was, I don't think it was on the
It's complicated. I've got it later. There's an email I'm trying to decipher.
it hasn't gone live or anything on the district website yet. I didn't notice a call in on there for it yet.
What is the date?
The last
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, this Friday is the last day before it.
Right, okay. I didn't notice a live call in on the.
Yeah.
No.
The email came out very late today, this afternoon. We didn't get a copy of the
Who's calling it in?
It's all semi-confidential.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but a call in, if they're minded to grant it, is in hand.
It's in hand.
Okay.
It's very technical, what the council said. I'm still trying to work out what it means.
Okay.
You don't know the answer.
Thank you, Councillor Paul.
You can still be called in, it's not a problem in calling it in, just a question of the semantics, what's going on with the officers and us. It's the employment side, isn't it? It's definite.
It is, yeah, it is a recognisable site. I think it is highlighted in the neighbourhood plan as well as a
We
employment
have a
site.
employment site, of course, told our name.
Yeah.
You don't have to solve problems. It's a straight linear with an embankment, so any noise. Here you've got Meadow Walk. How far away now is it, meters or feet from your end of your garden to?
It's at the end of the garden.
I don't think they've moved it though, have they, as such? The one that's directly at the end of Meadow Walk.
No,
No.
unit 1, and then you've got the builder's yard next to it, and then this 5.5 metre thing at the end of the gardens.
Is there no hours of operation? You could tell. I'm not suggesting it's separate because of that, but I'm saying, is it 24/7, 365 or?
Yes.
Last for 24-hour operating.
And I don't think these are the sorts of things where they have to apply for opening hours as
No.
such. It's not quite
No.
licensed in the same way.
It's status, isn't it? So, I'm very sympathetic from Lincoln. But it's big, isn't it? Yeah. There wasn't a residential, wasn't it, beforehand? Was it? Oh,
This is a different location at Southdown Industrial Estate, yeah.
there was one before, wasn't
Yes, which I think that was the one that was much closer to the actual entrance to the estate, I believe.
Yes, there was.
And then there was another one which is further in on the right hand side, which got planning permission for development office block.
it? Saying the MP has put something.
Hence my
It might help.
non-pecuniary.
It might help, if it goes to Bill. That's. We'll have the Bill. Is any petitions up anywhere about? There's probably not enough people, but is there? Petitions are normally hundreds, aren't they? You only really got one stretch.
Yeah, mostly the south, well, that side of Meadow Wood.
Makes it more difficult, doesn't it?
Just to bring back to the agenda on it, I think councillors, unless there's anything else on the specific application, Councillor
I was
Hill.
going to add, think it's important to know that this, as the resident admitted, this is an industrial estate. A lot of there are vacant units in there, and the whole site is looking run down. So at some point, I'm sure we'll get an appropriate form of development, which may well increase some of the noise which is there currently, which I think would have to judge at the time. But if it's, because we want good employment sites in the town, but this type of HGVs and 24 hours is kind of scale.
Councillor Hill. I think, given comments that have been raised, I'll propose a vote by councillors on the recommendation as set out. All in favour of that? That's our decision then. Thank you for. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Joanne. Thank you for coming. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like, but I suspect you probably have better things to do with your Tuesday evening.
Go and pick my dog up.
I will drop you an email with what our actual written recommendation to the district will be.
Thank you, and then I can just share that with the rest.
It's not going to differ vastly from last time, to be honest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Okay, on to back to page 23. 2021 246. Oh, sorry, I can't read. 2426. Does not meet the criteria required for consideration by the committee. So on to 2021 2429 17 at Roxham. By your observations on this one?
Okay, yeah. Get up the. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
I want to be able to, some people might know how to do this better than I. I want to be able to do it so that the whole thing is on the screen.
If you go to slideshow, about 6 in,
Yes.
click from current slide or from beginning.
There we go. I couldn't remember how to do it because it's different on Zoom. Okay, so here we go. So 17 Roxham Way. The proposal looks to extend the property to the side and rear to first floor level in the form of a partial wraparound. The property is set forward at number 15 Roxham Way, the side to which the bulk of the property is to. This property is also a good distance away and 1 metre gap retained to the boundary line. Own a single storey to attached side with number 19 Roxham Way. Proposal builds partially over the driveway to the side, but additional parking is proposed to the frontage, moving from 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2 parking spaces provided, sympathetic and in keeping with the host dwelling and the street scene. So if I can just show you, so this is the rear of the property here, site location, and you can see here that there's the existing and the proposed. So the existing, you can see here you've got a driveway down the side of the property, and they're looking to essentially build over that and round the back of the property over the existing patio area. And then at first floor level, extending along that left-hand side extension with a single storey to the property it's attached to. That's it.
Thank you.
Roxham Way.
Thank you, Heather. Any councillor comments on this one? I can't see any. Are we minded to go with the recommendation as set out?
Okay.
Perfect. On to 2021 2441 at the Malta Public House 110 Lower Loop Road. Your observations on this one, Heather?
Okay, yes. So I did notice today that I went online and there was a letter of objection on there, which is from the property, I believe it's number 2, Southview Road, which actually is
2C.
No, it's not 2C. No, it's actually, because I thought that actually Councillor Hill, but it's not. It's actually number 2 because they reference in here that they were very sort of kind of accepting of the fact that they built in their garden, the Malta built in their gardens, which is 2B and 2C. So although these people are objecting to it, they aren't actually direct neighbours to the site. Further off this, much further up the road. Okay, so the observation is that the proposal is to allow a takeaway service. So takeaway service for the food provider already based at the public house to strengthen their income. They currently serve the public house diners. Food is prepared by the previous tenants of the Cherry Tree, or Cheery, in fact the Cheery Tree, restaurant, according to my writing here, the Cheery Tree, which is to undergo residential development. Proposed operation times would be 5 until 10 Monday to Thursday, 5 until 11 on a Friday, and a Friday and Saturday, in fact, and then 4 until 11 on a Sunday. Extraction system requires upgrade and the installation of an external flue to meet the current guidelines. Location of the proposed apparatus is parallel with the existing chimney stack and is to the same height. 106A Lower Luton Road, which is attached to the premises, is an independent cafe, and residential properties are located directly behind the public house in South Road. So just on my image here, you can see where my little red spots are, essentially where the flue is going to be located, parallel with the existing flue. It's already there.
Given its retrospect question.
Yes. Yeah, so you can see here that there's the flue already in situ, which runs parallel with the chimney. Just gives a bit of a site location as to. Okay.
Thank you. Heather, any councillor comments on this one?
Who's near a house?
I think that's number 2C.
I mean,
Yes.
not jumping up there.
No, the only people were number 2, which is further up the road.
Also, Mary's calls in both ways.
Is she?
Councillor Hill.
Yeah, I was reading the comments on this this morning, and a lot of people referred to the fact that there's a car park adjacent to it, Southview car park, which is a Things District car park. Because I mean, some people have been concerned that, you know, with collections and perhaps more people going to the pub than happened previously, that being concerned of parking. This isn't really. It's not on the application itself. But I noticed that car park is always, there's no restrictions on it. A lot of people, I think, leave the cars in there sort of semi-permanently, and think perhaps in the future, if there is a problem with parking in the area, a way to get around that would be for the district council to put some sort of restrictions in there. Because a lot of people say, well, you can park in the car park adjacent to it. Because the old Cherry Tree site actually did have a car park up towards Weehouse. So I mean, this isn't an ideal site because it hasn't got a car park really, but to me it's an important employment, and so fine with the recommendations.
Councillor Hill, any other comments from councillors on this
I'm
one?
not serious. Park my car park there, one take one movie. The other car park, which has the same problem.
Yeah.
Residents parking.
Yeah.
Residents trying to also is Pebbles Road. We know the disposal service itself down here, but it's always full. Pebbles Road is old houses, aren't they? Nowhere near any park. We have never been a bullet on that one. So I'm not so sure there is no parking at all whatsoever.
No, not this one.
Can we incorporate that somewhere?
I think, is it language around highways conflict?
We can do, yes. So I mean, I didn't read out actually what my recommendation was that I was suggesting no objections. So do we want to change the view then? Being no objections, if we're going to mention about highway conflict, we need to be moving to an express concern as a minimum.
Even if it was no objection subject to?
I suppose I can change it, but it's quite tricky for us to be able to sort of make a suggestion that it's subject to no highway conflict. How they're going to actually address that issue without having their own car park on site.
Okay. Councillor
Is
Thompson.
it a takeaway such, do you go in and get food?
Yes,
They do.
yeah, that's essentially what they're making suggestions. So they currently at the moment are in-house.
Well, you know, you can't really park on, no, but outside, can you?
No. That's really, especially at meal times in the evening.
Is it almost a feeling where they've actually pop into the petrol station straight Tesco and leave the car there temporarily whilst they go and collect their takeaway? I'm not encouraging them to do
No.
that, they should, but is that the actual?
That garage is normally pretty busy, they're often into the road trying to get into it.
Right.
Totally right.
Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it? They express concern somewhere,
So,
intensifying.
there's, I feel a consensus that we're heading towards a recommendation of express concern.
Yeah.
In which case it would be express concern on the basis of highways conflict and possible lack of amenity, possible loss of amenity to neighbouring properties.
Yeah.
Well, I think the language is intensifying highways conflict, isn't it? It's something along those lines.
It's not planning, so is it?
Well, you know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have the option in policy 34, which is relates to highway. So it's,
I know if you turn in from Lowland Road to South Down Road,
Is it South
South
View?
View Road.
South View Road,
South View Road.
cars park all the way down,
Yeah.
both sides already.
The nature of it will be that it will become more of a destination to go to, because, I mean, the old cherry tree in once on the Lower Lincoln Road towards Wheaton was very hot, and it had, it had a car park and it was really quite full. It's been operating since for about over a year now. I haven't noticed, I mean, I kind of live quite near there. I haven't noticed anything myself, but I haven't really been looking out. I mean, it probably could be.
So, I think, as I said, I think the recommendation councillors
Yep.
will vote for is express concern on that basis. Can I have a show of hands just to confirm that that's perfect? So that's the recommendation we're going with. Cool. 5/20/21/2045 doesn't meet the criteria. We've done the next one. So on to 5/20/21/2423 at 61 Crabtree Lane. Your observation from this one?
okay, move forward to the images. Okay, so 61 Crabtree Lane. Property is linked, detached with a neighbour's garage with space between the properties along the streets in. Proposal looks to install a dormer window loft conversion across the width of the roof to the rear, with the addition of 3 front roof lights. 1 extra bedroom is added to total 4, ample parking for at least 3 cars with a garage retained. You can see here the frontage of the property and the existing rear. And then these are the existing and proposed images here. So existing at the front there, you can see essentially the only change is the addition of 3 skylights. And then to the rear, we've got a flat roof dormer across the width of the roof line. Okay. So my recommendation is that just to have no objection.
Thank you. Heather, any comments on this one, councillors? Councillor Turnbull.
I must admit, there's 1 or 2 others similar to this coming up, I think, and I always think a dormer straight across a roof like that is pretty ugly, to say the least. I admit we may not be able to stop it planning wise, but I cringe when I see it.
They don't look pretty, do they?
Yeah.
I know about them.
A lot of them at the rear like this, yeah, where essentially the street scene does not change at all.
There's another one coming up, I think.
I'd say I'm not sure that people make the back of their houses look ugly is something we can necessarily object to on planning grounds anyway.
You see it a lot in sort of London style townhouses. I sort of go into lofts, and I guess the nature of it probably going to the suburbs now as well. Yeah, I think planning reasons, I think it's
The objections made on both sides saying you can overlook a garden wall, but that's not really the case. What's to say with the fact you're higher, it's many difference, you're still looking at the same garden.
It's the same line as the bit below it, yeah.
I think council, we might just go with the recommendations set out. All in favour?
Okay.
Perfect. 5/2021 2468 and 2469 don't meet criteria. So on to 5/2021 2462 and 26 Moreland Road.
Okay, so the proposal is to extend at ground floor level rearwards by 2.5 metres with various roof lights and changes to the openings across the scheme at ground floor level. No changes to the first floor level, with the addition of a bedroom in the attic space by the inclusion of a rear dormer window and 3 front roof lights. 2 parking spaces are provided and the property is detailed to become 3 bedrooms. An existing bedroom is being converted into an office. The bulk of the footprint is at ground floor level, upper floor footprint has not changed. You can just see here with the images once again that depicts to the frontage, just change to the opening. So we're moving from the sliding patio style doors to a fixed wall with a small window and then 3 roof lights in the frontage. And then the rear, we can see a change again to the openings and the rear dormer. The depiction here shows the side elevations with the small extension to the rear, ground floor level, and the roof floor.
Perfect. Thank you. Are there any comments from councillors on this one?
Can you come back to the first one?
Of course.
One would be elevation. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you said the first one. Sorry, that was the first one.
What's that in the roof, bottom right hand side? That's the dormer,
Where?
the small dormer. Yeah.
Here,
So I can read out the big Felix window.
or just there.
Yeah.
So it's a dormer. So if I show you from this one here, you can see that this is the dormer. It's a very large window that's there. It's sort of a strange.
That's a bit odd.
It's a strange sort of use of materials, I think it's probably the easiest way to define it, but you can see here that it's like a wooden clad dormer with a protruding window.
I cringe.
It's
People
always
making
something
their
to do with
houses.
internal configuration. Isn't it? It has to be where it goes. I prefer it central.
Consult my papers.
It's just near the primary school.
It is directly opposite. Yeah, it's sort of kind of a strange. It's like a strange sort of kind of skylight sort of section out.
I think that's
It's sort of, yeah.
The height of the dormer is actually, that would
This
be
is
ridge, isn't it?
So that's the roof and that's
Oh,
the
you
second
said that.
floor. So this is the first floor, just here. I think it sort of looks like it's a straight, I don't know if it's, yeah. Not sure what it is. really.
Dormer's second floor.
The dormer is on the second floor, so
So it creates this bedroom ensuite thing.
with the,
Probably has to hit the bridge, otherwise you can't walk down inside it, because they're not roof up on it.
no, we're not raising the ridge height.
They have a slight design.
Doesn't look like a especially large bedroom, so I suspect it's that whole dormer is the bedroom.
So I think, as you know, as Councillor Paul says, I think they do it to enable you to essentially have more than just the direct ridge height as to where you can stand, so that you've got the space to,
A human can live in.
No,
rather than it being nothing more than an office.
neighbours aren't.
No objections on mine. So my suggestion was just no objection.
Any other comments from councillors on this one? So, how good turn the head feels uneven. I've had to do this in ages to check on him. All in favour of the recommendation with no objection? Perfect.
Okay, agreed.
Okay, on to 5/2021 2110 54 Eastmoor Park. for observation.
Excuse me, so I've got here on the screen the house is marked with the red cross. So the property has undergone an extension as per the history above. This proposal, so this actual image that we're looking at here does not include the extensions that were given permission. So I think actually the images here do show the extension that has been included to the front wall, essentially to the side of the house over the garage. So this proposal, so the proposed property has undergone an extension as per the history above. This proposal is retrospective for a heat source pump to the front elevation attached to the side of the forward projection. So what you can see here on this image is essentially this black box arrangement. Noise impact assessment has been carried out and details an adverse impact during the daytime and nighttime with mitigation required. Noise abatement measures required to reduce them to an unacceptable level in this residential location. The application does not detail these will be carried out. The pump is proposed to be housed in a weathered timber enclosure painted to match the existing windows and fascia. Objections have been lodged from numbers 52 and 56 East Moor Park. Consider recommend refusal due to the location of the proposed heat source pump to the front of the property and proposed design of the enclosure, leading to a possible detrimental impact on the street scene. No details of proposed noise abatement have been provided to bring the proposal to acceptable noise levels for the neighbouring properties. Policy 69, 72 and 82 is district plan fair, and policy ESD2 is a part of the neighbouring plan.
Thank you, Heather. Any comments from council members? Councillor Turnbull?
Thank you, Chair. I concur 100% with the officer's comments. I think it should be rejected and taken down. I think mitigation is not applicable. I think it should just be removed, full stop.
I'm increasingly getting this heat source pump on. There's no, I don't think district produced any papers on these sort of things. Now it also bolted in air conditioning units, aren't they, inside the houses.
Yeah.
That was done.
We had one, I think,
Oh,
we had a couple, haven't we? Mem had one on her meeting, I had one up at Westminster Fields, I think was the last one. Yeah.
There's no sort of claim by the district, really, so we know. It's all treated ad hoc as they're coming up, but obviously heat source pump make noise as well air conditioning. But we need to be strong on what we said. That noise, we said that. So.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any
And
councillor?
also, the front of the property as well, you think, you sort of hide it around the back at the very least. It just looks strange.
Yes, we're bearing in mind it's sort of attached to the frontage
Yeah.
of the property that close to the neighbour.
So,
Yeah, I think largely they placed it there because that's the least inconvenience to them, where they can have the least view, and therefore, but it does create unquestionably an adverse impact on the neighbour. But I think the key thing is here that there's been no evidence of what abatement measures they're required to take. I think that's an essential part of any such application. If it's deficient in that way, it should be rejected.
Thank you. It's a bit ambitious for size of the problem.
It actually blocks their window a bit as well.
Yeah, I was trying to work that out because on looking at the image, I can't work out if the window is moved. Because the gap
No,
between the
it's-
heat source pump and the window appears to be the same as the gap between the corner of the window.
It didn't sort of kind of show them all, but this image here does show that it actually does block their window.
Oh yeah, that's a very strange place to put it. We reject something on the basis of them ruining their own immunity.
Yeah, yes.
it's subject to.
I don't know about that. That's a huge, yeah. Yeah, but it's just, it's not,
Is it our first floor?
sorry,
Is it the first floor?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, so it's above the garage.
so lots of windows. So that picture is wrong.
It's sort of, I think it's generous.
It's creative.
Yes.
it has an interesting interpretation of sightlines. Yeah. That was a triangle at first. It's in the explanation to go. Anyway, back to the item at hand. I think committee is minded to go with the recommendations. I can just get a show of hands to confirm. Thank you very much. On to 5/2021-2419 and 2440 don't meet criteria required. So on to 5/2021-2467, 13 the Warren.
Okay, so the property is sizable with ample parking frontage. Property is set back to the others in the street scene. Posts are relatively modest. No increase in the roof height, just the addition of roof height to the loft conversion to the rear and not conservation area. So you can see just here highlighted in blue, sort of blue boxes at the back and to the side for the proposed extensions. And this just shows the space that it has surrounding it in the road.
It's ample screening at the back as well.
Big plot.
Yeah, it's a substantial plot and it's at the end of the road really. It's, the effect on everyone is minimal at all.
Any comments on this one, councillors? I can't see any. In that case, we minded to go with the recommendations, no objections. No vote.
Agreed.
That's 5/2021-2362 doesn't meet the criteria required. So on to number 5/2021-2437 at 2 Ambrose Lane. Observations.
So there's just the images here, the screen in front of you. So proposal looks to extend to the first floor level at the front by filling in the gap to the left of the frontage. So you can see just here on the screen, essentially to fill in this little section here. And it will ground floor, fill in the gap to the left of the frontage to extend the ground floor accommodation and 1 extra bedroom at first floor level to total 5. Space for 3 cars of frontage, neighbours single story elements shown avoiding a 45-degree visibility zone, appears to be in keeping with the host dwelling and not to cause detrimental impact on number 4 Ambrose Lane outside the conservation area. There's no objection subject to no loss of immediate to 4 Ambrose Lane. Policy 72.5 District Plan Affairs.
Any comments on this one from councillors?
First house in from.
It is, yes. So as you go along Ambrose Lane on the right-hand side,
On the right as you're going.
as you're going, off of sort of Hollybush Lane, is that
Hollybush
right?
Lane,
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw a little bit closer.
That's
It
it.
looks like the first, but still part of Ambrose Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can sort of see here actually, but so there's this sort of kind of hedge line just here.
Yeah.
And those houses there are on Hollybush Lane.
This was only affects.
Yes, which is this one that's just here. And they show in here, on this image here, that the 45-degree angle is reached. So,
Thank you. Any further comments on this one?
We're like 2072-5, number 4.
In that case, are we all minded to go with the recommendation?
okay, agreed. Thank you.
Okay, on to 5/2021-2475 of 15 Townsend Road. Observations on this one?
Okay, yeah. So I think actually we've seen this application site a number of times before. So this application looks to combine the 2 previously approved applications as detailed in the history, both of which HTC had no objection to. The main change to the last application is the addition of a front single-storey extension which sits within the building line of the front 2-storey extension, parking 3 cars, parking in conservation area. So yes, you can see here that I don't think, yes, so this shows the existing and the proposed, and then this is the proposed, which essentially combines the last two applications into one.
Any comments on this one, councillors? Any, in which case we'd like to go to the recommendation. On 2/5/2021-2138 at 9 and 10 Langdale Avenue. Your observations?
Okay. So the proposal is to raise the roof line pitch and change to gable ends to both properties in this pair of semis, with the addition of a rear dormer window and 3 front roof lights to each. The road slopes down towards number 11 Langdale Avenue. Roof height is increasing to the height of the existing chimney top, which is approximately by 700 millimetres. No change in the footprint of the property. It's increasing from 3 to 4 bedrooms in both properties. No detrimental impact on the neighbouring properties appears evident. Believe there are to be 2 off-street parking spaces to each property. Road is not overly wide for the provision of safe on-street parking with passing traffic. So you can see here sort of both properties, neighbouring properties with each other. And this is Langdale Avenue, which you can see here that there is already sort of on-street parking taking place. So by moving to an additional bedroom, and from what I can sort of see really, especially with number 10 Langdale, there isn't really scope to have any more than 2 parking spaces on the frontage. They've already turned it into hard landing. And then probably pretty much number 9 Langdale will mirror that. They'll have exactly the same footprint available to them. So I'm quite concerned actually about the insufficient parking or off-street parking provision for the road. So the committee have no objection to the proposed loft conversion, however do express concern that there is insufficient off-street parking provision on what appears to be a narrow road leading to possible highway conflict. It's 34, 40 and 72 of the district.
Councillor Tuttle.
Are we able to see elevations, particularly the rear elevation? But I'm concerned the roof line is going to jump quite a bit and it is gable ends, if I remember rightly. Is it going to totally dominate the rest of the houses on the street?
I don't think we've got a full street scene in terms of what it will actually look like. So there we go, Councillor Turnbull. There's the existing and the proposed.
Yes, you see, it's you're going to have effectively the roof line is going to go up to the chimney level, and it's going to be the hips are going to disappear, and you're going to have gable ends. It's going to be a big mass. The hint there is going to be up the top of the chimney, isn't it? And it's going to be right along to the edge of the boundary, the edge of 2 properties, left and right. Yeah, solid bulk.
Yeah.
And it's higher than 11. Is it 11?
Yes, so it probably the impact on number 8 will be less because that's higher up in the road.
So it's 8 on the left there.
8, yeah, 8 to the left, and then 11 to the right.
And when you look at the dormers they're going to build, there's effectively a dormer right along the back of the house. From what I could see when I looked at it.
Yes, it
On
is.
the plans earlier on my.
Yeah.
It's just right along the back of the house.
There are also 2 windows on that side of 11.
Thank you.
It's a bit ambitious for what it is on the site.
Councillor Hill.
Can you just go to the next photo? Oh, that's right. Well, there was maybe it's-
That one.
yeah, that's one. I was just thinking because at the minute there's on number 9 there's on the left, yeah. There's only sort of 1 parking off street. I mean, there would be space for 2, then you'd end up searching the whole front and supposedly we're losing that big front tree as well. This is a good point.
Hence why I was sort of kind of said about the parking. They do state that there's going to be no loss of trees on the site, so potentially they aren't
So
proposing
there's
to.
just one off-street parking on number 9. Another.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because the image I've got here is the latest that's available on Google.
Oh, so
maps.
that tree
So
thing,
it's not to say that the tree
Yeah.
actually hasn't already
That's
gone.
fair point, yeah. That's a fair point.
We can only go with what's in front of us.
Yeah.
I think it might be is that a cherry? And of course, cherries tend to die quite frequently.
Yeah. I'd also be slightly concerned about the effect on the streets. To be honest.
That's my concern is, you're going to get, sorry, I'm allowed to do this here.
We're testing the new camera.
Yeah, you're going to be, it's going to be right up, right along at that height, right along both sides, and you've got windows there, and you've got windows here.
The new councillors, the new councillor, the new camera.
I apologise for that, but it's, that's what that was my comment when I looked at it on my system.
Yeah, no, I think, I think given the potential loss of amenity, the parking, the effect on the street scene, we should probably be headed towards express concern.
So you've got overdevelopment, isn't it?
Yeah,
On both sides.
yeah.
I mean, they've done it both in the same house. Certainly be, it still affects the neighbours on the side.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice to see some families working together on one of these for a change.
Good one. So the road is narrow because you drive down there and you've got a big car the other way. You have to put two wheels up. Probably. Why? Memory, I do only go down there if I get lost. I do it some. I don't go down quickly sometimes. I don't need to take this on. In fact, I started.
Yes.
So I think we're minded towards express concern on the basis of street scene, potential loss of amenity of neighbouring properties, parking, bulk, overdevelopment, appropriate other language, fitting in with those and relevant policies.
That's fine.
Perfect. All in favour of that recommendation?
Okay,
Oh, we got them here.
it is. It's always useful to be able to have the drawings, so we don't have to go like that in front of the screen. Can you see it?
It's a welcome change to actually be in a room. 5/2021, 2485, 3 Chesterton Avenue. Your observations on this one?
Okay, yes, so this is the site in question, and my observations are that the proposal is to replace the existing shed stroke storage to the front of the property with a brick built extension to the main house. So this image that you can see here to the right of the property is a brick built shed stroke storage that then moves on to a gated access for the cars side, and they are looking to extend over that footprint of that store. So existing brick shed stroke store currently presents a large brick built structure across the front of the plot. The plot is wide fronted on a curve in the road. Neighbouring property is set further around the road and appears to not be affected by the proposed extension, which is subservient to the main house footprint. Proposed increase of 1 bedroom to 4 in total. Parking provision for 3 cars off street. 3 trees are to be removed and 1 relocated as part of the scheme. However, no details of proposed replacements are detailed. So you can see here that the existing frontage and then the proposed frontage to the right-hand side there.
Where is Chesterton? I should know.
It's by Alderbury Crescent.
Where?
Alderbury Crescent.
Yes. No.
Yeah, it's just off Alderbury.
We're retaining the garage that's already there. It's sort of going over the footprint, the existing frontage there. So I've said the committee have no objection to the proposed extensions, however express concern that there are no details of proposed replacements for 3 trees that are to be removed on the site. Policy ESD 14 for the plan and policy 74 the district plan of that.
Can you go back to the first image?
Councillor Turnbull, you.
My only concern with this, now, I was confused when I was looking at, can you go back ever to the plan? Are they moving the bit that's being knocked down, is it then being moved forward near the pavement? You see in that one on the left, it seems to be fairly straight across, and you come to the new plan and it seems to be moved forward quite a bit, so it's not on the same, the front wall is on the same line as the previous brick built shed.
No, so they're building it in line with the existing building line of the property.
Is that a problem?
My personal opinion, I've gone back to this one, because I think that's a local development, because that's actually quite a small plot relative to the size of house they're trying to put on it. And it won't be a terracing effect, it's around the corner, but you're going to lose that bit of light that comes through. Because they're putting essentially another version of what that from the edge to the front door again onto the right of that property. If you look at the
floor plan.
yeah. So I mean that's a very big bit of development outside. Notwithstanding, of course, the fact they haven't detailed the replacements of the trees, which I know Councillor Drake is messing at me about. So yeah, so I think overall I'm not personally hugely impressed by the scheme, but councillors may feel otherwise. Councillor Drake.
Yes, I agree with that. One of my fundamental objections here is that this isn't a complete application. The neighbourhood plan requires people to specify replacement trees. We have, as a committee, previously refused applications on exactly the same basis. So I think consistency. I'm aware that SADC or the local planning authority haven't always agreed with this, but in order to protect our neighbourhood plan, I think it's an incomplete application and we should reject this. I also agree, however, that there is potential here that this could be regarded as no development.
That's great. Any other councillors' comments on this one?
I'm not happy with the design. It does come into our plan.
Yeah.
MPPF or not.
Yeah. Street thing.
I don't know else criticise the design that ever changes. So it's not wasting my time.
Councillor Hill.
Can I just ask about the part second story extension? Is that set back? So it comes forward. The ground floor extension comes forward.
Yes, so you can see here,
Yeah.
so the ground floor extension comes forward and is in line with the building line, and then to the left here, we've got the upstairs.
Yeah,
So the upstairs is actually essentially set back slightly even from the existing upstairs.
Yeah, okay, that's.
So you can see actually here depicting that it's got a lower roof line and it is set back, marginally set back.
Yeah.
Still remain concerned about the size of that piece of property. I mean, frankly, I haven't done the maths, but I must be getting close to a municipality on the garden. That's a significantly more garden on there than it looks.
The energy space is reduced, isn't it?
Quite considerably, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost doubles the size of the ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many bedrooms? About
Moving to 4.
40, 20%.
I think because looking at it, I think there is actually probably more,
There's a bit more.
there is more amenity space than possibly what this image here depicts.
But it's still a fairly massive
They
development.
do take in the front garden as well as amenity space. Here in the back. Okay.
My point was merely in relation to the overdevelopment point rather than the actual point of this.
Well, does one reject it or does one feel it's with concern?
Well, that is for committee to decide. So I will put the first recommendation of the committee that I think on the basis of both open development, effect on the street scene and the fact they haven't provided us with any details of replacement trees. I personally would recommend refusal. if committee are minded towards that.
We've probably got a landscaping plan somewhere in the.
Not really.
No?
And all in favour of a recommendation on those lines?
Yeah.
Recommend refusal. If committee are minded towards that, but
I'll go with that.
We don't have to, but,
No, I'll have design.
okay, so recommend refusals, we're saying about overdevelopment, aren't we?
yeah,
And then obviously my mention of the lack of provisional ratio of trees.
yeah, and effect on the streets thing, because I'm concerned about that, the way that light comes through.
Yeah. So actually, so we've got street scene and also actually loss of amenity to neighbours then.
Potentially.
You said about the lights coming through.
So,
So street scene is sort of what it looks like in the street, whereas then amenity is related to the neighbouring.
yeah, so it's less of a amenity light, more of a street. So if you go back to the first picture,
Yeah.
it's more the effect on the street scene that losing that as it comes through. Rather than amenity, if that makes sense.
Okay, just okay.
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it.
Okay, Mid.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Well, I'm done.
Don't you say that? You can't say that.
Right. We voted on everything.
I think we voted that we were going with recommend refusal
Cool.
because Bert wasn't sure. He was. And he
I
decided
don't
he
know,
would.
I don't know yet. In fact, it's in the state where you can get lost quite easily trying to find a way out.
Yeah, you have to look at the signs actually. I have to look at the signs to see which way I'm going
I was
to
thinking,
find the
I
house.
understand how else you can't.
Yeah.
Like you said, that Mr. Bush.
Is it about the Bermuda Triangle where you can't get out?
I'm starting to get a sense of it. You get lost quite a lot.
Yes, sorry, 12 Riley Close.
No, sorry, we haven't. I have to tick off the fact that we didn't. So 5/2021 2286 did not meet the criteria. Then on to 5/2021 2521 and 12. Your observations on this?
Okay, so proposal looks to install a canopy porch to the front, marginally extends forwards over bedroom 4. Increase in height of lower roof elements to be in line with the main roof line and a conversion of loft space to a habitable accommodation with a rear door window and one front Velux window. The proposal appears to be in keeping with the proposed property and not detrimental to the street scene, increasing from a 5 to a 6-bedroom property. Parking provision is assumed acceptable as no details provided. You can see the frontage here with the change to the roof line over this corner here, the addition of the roof light. In the rear of the property here, we've got 2 individual dormers.
This was set down.
They are, yeah.
I was making dormer windows in Hartford. Having a good run of business this month. Any comments on this one from councillors? Councillor Hill and then Councillor Drake.
Yeah, I've just got a couple just about the parking. This parking provision is assumed acceptable. I mean, I would assume acceptable subject to in no details provided. I would go with no objection subject to acceptable parking provision, just because we're still not sure by the sound. I mean, this is actually quite a new development because that whole new road is only like, I think it's like last year or two, isn't it? So I mean, it's quite surprising that it's coming for a development now. But I think it's just on the parking, and no objection to the development, just about the parking. I think I'd say no objection subject to ample parking provision without formula in the plan.
From what I remember, the width of the front garden is about a car deep, and that's it. There's hardly any front garden at all. The parking, I think, is a pretty bit of a problem. If everyone starts to have 6 bedrooms.
That said, for 6, it's still only 3.5 spaces.
The reason why I said that is because if it's currently a 5-bedroom property and we move into 6, the formula does not change. So that's essentially the reason why. But yeah, you're absolutely right. But it's if we were moving from the magic 3 to a 4, 3 or 4 to 5, that's where we then actually start changing. But it's 4 above, isn't it? It's a formula, so it doesn't.
The formula doesn't change, I guess we kind of say, we just keep it.
Can you show me why they closed it?
I can't because the street, unfortunately,
Yeah,
it's
Google
that
hasn't
new.
gone down it
It's a
yet.
private road, isn't it?
No, it's not.
No,
It's too new. It's
Google
basically
thinks
about
it's
18 months old, 2 years old
Yeah.
there. It's in the middle of Falklands End Farm.
Yeah.
It's opposite Wood End,
School.
Wood End School.
Go and get lost there when there are lots of cul-de-sacs.
There's one big dead end, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So unfortunately, but I can't.
Don't worry.
I can't take you
I think
there.
it's about halfway down.
I'm not saying the school's a problem, because you can't park near the school. Get a paint down.
Okay, so with the language in about acceptable parking, or subject to acceptable parking, I should say, are we minded to go with no objection as the recommendation?
Well, quite a good design.
Perfect. On to 5/2021 2566 at 40 Ridgewood Drive.
Okay, so this is the existing property that they're looking to demolish. So proposes to demolish the existing dated dwelling with a detached 2-storey dwelling with another 4-bedroom property. The proposal appears to be similar in height and style to the neighbouring properties and is in keeping with the street scheme. The footprint is marginally increased from the existing. Ample parking provision is provided with the garage and frontage parking. New trees and landscaping are proposed with tree protection measures also proposed. No objections received to date. Or I've said consider no objections subject to no loss of meeting number 38, which would drive policy 72 of district and affairs. So this is the proposed new property to go on the site. So this is the existing, and then this is the proposed. You can see sort of the property to the left is a much higher, much more substantial looking dwelling.
38 to the right.
38 is to the right, yeah. So the reason why I've said that is because currently they've got a flat roof garage, and then we're moving to actually having a festival
And
element
it's quite
to
grand,
it.
isn't it?
And then this is the block plan. So you can see the outline here of the existing property. If I can sort of just outline slowly there for you, the outline, and then we've got this hatched area which shows the 2-storey element, and then these little slightly less hatched area which is the ground floor element. This is the street scene, which shows the new dwelling opposed to the previous. And that's it.
Personally, I think it's significantly improved.
That's what I did, that's not.
Yeah, it's not, it fills the gap, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Quite,
We lose the openness, don't we?
it's quite dated, the old one.
Yeah, it balances.
Yeah, it's further back in the plot as
It
well.
balances the street scene.
Yeah. Any councillor comments on this one? In that case, we might just go with the recommendation as set out. All in favour?
Please.
Okay, number 5/2021 2493 and 2519 don't meet the criteria for consideration. On to 5/2021 2536 at 40 The Uplands.
Okay, so permission has already been granted for a substantial 5-bedroom dwelling on the plot. This proposal seeks to build a less substantial property with no basement to new owners. So it's basically different people who applied last time. The footprint of the property sits well within the plot and does not extend further forward or back than the neighbouring properties. It takes into account the 45-degree angle for both. Street scene is in keeping with the area. Ample parking provision is provided and no tree works are proposed, not conservation area. You can see here on the left is a depiction of what was the permission, and then what we have on the right is the new proposal. So you can see the proposed dwelling and the existing in the street scene here, and then this is the block view from above. That's it. So I was sort of working on the basis of what was given permission, which was substantial, to say the least. This is a much sort of more synthetic design, even though it's still quite it's quite big.
You go back to that new one. What's one on the left?
The one on the left was what had permission before, which had a basement,
Okay.
which when I looked at it was, I was astounded that what was in the basement was bigger than most people's houses.
But so is that the one that originally went down and behind the house? Is that this?
I think it did.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they did have permission for it.
I remember the last two of these. Been substantial all the way through.
Yes. I'm not sure that I've actually, because I went, I think, online to pick those ones up. But yeah, it was.
Like an architecture.
Yeah. One on the left one.
Yes.
One on the other.
I've seen a house with some columns on it.
My only, as I say, I picked this sort of the bit and I thought it was no problem. The only problem I've got, Chair, is if you look at the, not problem, if you look at the previous plan, approved, has the house, the new plan has the house been pushed out nearer the boundaries?
I think I tried my best to make it mirror the size and the shape of what is proposed. So
Right.
I think actually you might find that this one is, if anything, slightly less, or I think it might be on exactly the same. This has got an element of subterranean going on as well because they've got the basement.
Okay,
So I don't think that there is.
okay, I'm no problem.
Yeah, see, the footprint is smaller.
Yeah. So 89% what I remember the last one. Okay, any other comments from councillors on this one? I can't see any. In that case, we're reminded to go with the recommendation set out. All in favour? Okay. If I'm not mistaken, the next ones are 5/2021, 2567, 2457, 2492, 2517, all of which don't meet the criteria. And then, hopefully with its reference on page 33, is 5/2021, 2534 at 34 Tennyson Road. Observations on this one?
Okay, so the proposal seeks to extend to the rear of the property at ground and first floor level with an interconnecting section along with the inclusion of an integrated courtyard. There are no significant changes to the frontage. Property is moving from 4 to 5 bedroom. Parking provision for only 2 vehicles. Proposed 2-storey rear extension extends further back by some distance from the original building line and extends further than the building line of the neighbouring properties and is large in bulk and massing. There appears to be the potential for significant detrimental impact on numbers 32 and 36 Tennyson Road from the proposal. The property is locally listed in the conservation area. Consider recommend refusal. Proposed extensions are an unacceptable form of development on this locally listed building in the heart of the conservation area, leading to a significant detrimental impact on the neighbouring properties, numbers 32 and 36 Tennyson Road, and various policies. So here we can see the existing footprint of the property, which we are then moving to, if I can sort of just show you here, it's quite tricky. The additional element we've got here is this bulk at the back here, which is at first floor level as well as ground floor level. So this is the proposed elevation. So this is the existing property here, and they are looking to build this interconnecting section onto this rather substantial looking extension to the rear. This is the proposed view. Oh, sorry, I've just tucked something. Sorry, it was that cross for me.
I don't think it was cross with you.
I'm sorry. So yes, you can see here the interconnection section and the proposed rear elements there. This is the block plan, which shows how much further back it extends from both neighbouring properties. And that's it.
I mean, it's ambitious. I'll say that for it.
Interesting,
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything else like it in Hull.
that's what I mean.
Any councillor comments?
Well, the funny, it's just one that I was rejected out of hand, but it's interesting, that little courtyard they create is going to be a little dark hole.
No, that little Elton, only listed building.
it is a listed
Yeah,
building.
we listed
Yeah, yeah. And they have visions for it to being a nice sort of kind of green and pleasant land from what they've got in the,
Also transporting it, they're also transporting it to a boundary with nicer weather.
So, yeah.
Wondering if these architectural units could do with all this, like that, or do so.
Wonder if they've been to Hartland. Yeah, I mean,
you're rather stumped.
No, when I saw it, I thought, is that what on earth? Who's come up with this?
Just,
Sorry,
I mean, I didn't include, there are numerous pictures and images and things that have been provided, but it's also sort of the design as well at the back.
Yeah.
All of this kind of glass and, it looks like a shop.
I was just going to say.
It looks like a shop, it does.
Got any objection?
No,
I mean, you can see, even on the elevations there, you can see like how, like the neighbouring property, how there's like a shadow in its, so the architect's seen that and thought I reckon that's all right. And he's actually drawn it in the shadows to the neighbours,
it's skylight, yeah.
right, to the neighbours at the back of the, and the skylight and the, you know, like the French doors at the back. They sort of just,
Out of interest, I know I jokingly asked it earlier, but is there a thing about causing yourself to have
well, in a
loss of
sense,
amenity?
well, yes, because if it doesn't, well, basically, you can't say that you are going to live in that property forevermore.
Yeah,
You know, you need to think about the future occupiers of it.
there are a lot of windows at the back there.
which look out at nothing. Which look
Yeah,
out
look now at the back of a very large property. I mean, in a way, if they'd have completed the courtyard, at least it would have been a courtyard.
Because what you've got to bear in mind is that essentially the existing house finishes here,
Yeah,
and we have all of this whole section. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, that is a house that they built on the back of the house.
It's a house on Meadow House.
I'm just going to come out of this because I want to just have a little look online, because although I said that there were no objections there, I have a feeling that they were.
Quite surprised there's no objections from the neighbours about.
There will be by the time we go to
Yes.
I mean, that is quite a large bit of brick. It's on the side of that, facing this garden.
I have to say, I can't find a single redeeming feature of this one.
Oh, I can find redeeming features if I was, you know, putting in the application myself, but on a planning level, not really. It's just very strange.
Why does it say break in the middle?
Breaking the
that's
breaking the roof line,
section.
Oh,
No, there aren't any letters of objection on there yet, but I didn't think there were. Maybe that's one that did, but this one isn't.
in it, and
There's
it's really
a
written down planning.
Tennyson Road, what, whose patch is that?
A break in the massing reduces the scale. It's west. Yeah, it's west.
Yeah,
Worst.
A break in the massing reduces the scale of the extension and creates a defined gable and elevation set back from the boundary edge. I mean, by about a foot. Anyway, yeah. I think
okay, so do we want to add anything in addition to what my recommendation was?
I think it's an open development. And it might be worth saying that more explicitly.
Probably put over in front of word development, leave it that,
Oh,
put over in front of development.
yeah. That would work.
Parking, Well, if we're going to, this is going to be, we're moving 4 to 5.
Let me just double check. I think they've got more parking provision there actually.
2 vehicles.
Amenity spaces.
They've got a
Yeah, it's got
they've got a garage as well as the frontage.
significant detrimental impact, presumably, because that.
Sitting in that garden there, it's a lot of bulbs be looking over your.
That's just 3.5, isn't
Yeah.
it? 3.5. Oh, it's another bit.
Yeah, so it's
It's
consult, there's a unallocated and an allocated.
3.5.
Yeah, so it's like 3 and then half unallocated, so on the street.
I'd also like to put in some language about potential impact on amenity for future occupiers. I really do think
You occupy the
of
van.
that house, because that courtyard, well, not even the courtyard, but these windows on the existing property, there's a lot of glass, and I struggle to see how, unless they've positioned it exactly right on the plot for the sun, how that's not going to have a detrimental impact on their own windows in terms of getting light.
Yeah. Give themselves some footing, I suppose. Yeah. Interesting.
Only one word for it. So we've got adding in the word over in front of development, and then a comment on potential loss of amenity for future occupiers, another 34. Any more for any more?
Sorry, was that saying mudroom?
Yes, there's a mud room. I was just looking at that, thinking, why is it not boot room? It's a mud room.
I don't think
Is that the dodgy option? But when it's done.
I don't think we can criticise too much the rooms that they're putting in.
And they have a farm
What
kitchen.
it was.
They have a farm kitchen in Tenterford.
It's because it's very narrow plot, so isn't it? 'Cause all the it's very it's all you go down very tight parking inside. It's a really tight road. It's not a
Still on the 3 days it's sunny, that courtyard.
Right, okay.
Any more in terms of things we'd like to add in?
You've been put over in front of the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
In that case,
either side.
we've got
Not really
significant detrimental impact on, can we just add the words, the amenity of neighbouring properties?
Yeah, so you've got amenity of future occupants and of the
Yeah.
The last bit just sort of showed it from the neighbour's garden.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Any more that we'd like to raise on this one?
It's a bit like student accommodation, isn't it? That's in a way, isn't it? Based on architecture.
I feel like I need to defend my student accommodation. Definitely didn't have a farm kitchen in it.
Did you have a mudroom?
Bedrooms.
Yeah. Depends on which of my flatmates you're asking. Okay, I mean, all in favour of recommend refusal on that basis. Yeah, I think that's
Great.
one of the most unsurprising votes we've had on this. Right. Item 7, appeals. We've had a decision in for an appeal at 10 Porters Hill. The appeal has been dismissed. Preservation ordered tree works are just for noting unless anyone has anything they'd like to raise on them. Likewise, conservation area tree works and technical applications, and the list of weekly St Albans District Council decisions. And the date of our next meeting is Tuesday, the 12th of October at 7:30 p.m. in the council chamber. Next Plans North is Monday, the 11th of October at 7 p.m. presumably in St Albans. And with that, bring the meeting to a close at, by my maths, 8:55.
Thank you.